How about the start for Kelly Barnhill? 3 starts in that tournament at the University of South Florida. Perfect 4-0, a .74 ERA. Francesca, she already has 26 strikeouts.
We know Kelly's always going to have that high strikeout count because that devastating rise ball. But what I love the most is that only 4 walks. That's always been her Achilles heel, and she has to be able to be very efficient in the circle this season.
One big thing for Kelly, too, is keeping those home run totals down from the opposition. As Mikiko Iguchi will lead it off there, you take a look at the Japanese starting 9 as they will continue their U.S. tour after today. And yesterday playing at the University of South Florida, winning that game 10-2. As we are underway, first pitch here in this exhibition matchup inside this brand new renovated stadium. Well, you got a chance a little bit to walk around and see this press box. What are your initial impressions of essentially, again, what is kind of a brand new kind of feel to it?
It's really just, wow. When I found out that it was going to be just the same field and built around it, I wasn't sure if it was going to feel that much different or look that much different, but I mean, it looks like a completely different stadium.
And there you see the fans lining up on the outfield wall. You have kind of a sidewalk behind where you can walk behind the fencing. And the color of the fence, too, is green. It kind of has that major league feel to it.
You know, one thing that I love that Coach Walton said is that when he built this stadium, he didn't want to lead the country in attendance. He wanted it to be an experience. And so you see that there's no foul poles. There's nothing that's obstructing the view. You have a 360 view all around the stadium.
Fans can roam all along the concourse and still see the action. And when Coach Walton had talked about the renovations, he had said that everybody was thought of, whether that's the TV people, the fans, the players. Everybody was thought of in this renovation, every single detail, and he didn't realize how much really went into the whole process.
Listen, speaking from experience with playing under Coach Walton, this guy is about the details. He's very meticulous, so he wanted to make sure that every single facet was going to be covered for that good experience.
There you saw this Stacey Nelson Plaza, all-time leader in strikeouts, has her name on the wall down the left field line.
I'll probably be hanging out in that area.
Pitch to Iguchi, back to Barnhill. Can't collect, but Adams off the carom, 1 away. Adams a part of this stellar infield that is usually one of the best in terms of fielding percentage every year in the country. Take another look, went right off the glove of Barnhill. Adams has been so good at second base this her sophomore season. Did not commit a single error last year in her freshman campaign. Here's Yuka Ichiguchi. Ropes one back up the middle. First hit for Team Japan.
You know, and that's one thing that we have to make sure that we note is that, yeah, Kelly was looking for redemption against Team Japan, but they know her. They faced her before, so they know they have a good game plan going up against her tonight.
She pitched an inning and a third in that softball championship game this past summer that the Gators had, or rather Team USA had won gold and have already clinched their spot into Tokyo 2020. That's where the Olympics will be held, and it's been a long hiatus for baseball and softball in the Olympics. Last time it was 2008 in Beijing, and now in 2020 it will be back in Tokyo.
It's crazy to think that they voted it out so long ago, and now we finally have an opportunity to get back and reclaim that gold medal.
Here's Saki Yamazaki. Takes outside. There was a threat of rain today as well, but that has disappeared. This new elevated press box, too, Francesca, you can see off in the distance Ben Hill Griffin Stadium behind the tree line. That's something you never would see in the old KSP.
I didn't even notice it until you just pointed it out. That's awesome.
And there it is. Great job by our crew. Ben Hill Griffin Stadium off in the distance. Rope to short, one hop for Reynoso. There's one, and there's two. Good pick by Lorenz over at first. Kelly works around a one-out single. We're scoreless mid-1, and the Gators coming up when we come back.
The rules of luxury. Look, but don't touch. Touch, but don't use. Use, but don't enjoy. Enjoy, but don't show it.
If you're going to follow one rule, make sure it's this one. Luxury should be lived in. Infiniti, empower the drive.
My name is Curtis, and my favorite thing about the egg white grill is the egg itself. It's like soft and fluffy, like a pillow. I wouldn't eat my pillow, but I'd eat the Chick-fil-A breakfast egg white sandwich for sure.
As we head to the bottom of the first, and scoreless, there's a look at the brand new elevated press box, a part of the $15 million renovations, and also the facility down the third base line in that left field corner. Coach Walton's office is somewhere in that building. He has a nice view of the field. He was talking in the preseason about how he has probably the best office view on campus.
And that was one thing that he was really looking forward to, is just having everything in one area. So it's not just his offices are, across town and then the training rooms in another location. He wanted everything to be central so that the girls can just feel like they're at home.
So inside the circle for Team Japan, Nozomi Ozaki. See, Japan, they have the different kind of uniforms with the shorts. Not something you see in American collegiate softball. Meanwhile, Amanda Lorenz will lead it off as she's starting today in a new position. Got the start at first base today. We'll see a lot of time at left field. The new addition, Kendyl Lindaman, that's going to be, at least today, a lethal 1-2. You probably see them more at 2 and 3 in the order this year, but Lorenz and Lindaman back-to-back, that's tough.
It's very deadly, and especially that's why Coach wanted Lindaman to come over here, because he needed someone to defend Lorenz in that lineup, and she is the perfect person. A righty power hitter with Lorenz being that lefty, can go all fields.
Lorenz, one of 3 team captains. You can just notice right away the pop out of the hand on that pitch from Ozaki. Had a lot of velocity on it.
Well, the one thing these Japan pitchers are always known to be great at, and that is spotting their fastball. So she's going to throw a lot of her fastballs with a good change as well.
Lorenz starting the year at 389. Had a 69-game reach base streak that bridged the 2 years that ended in Game 3 against Arizona in that USF tournament. Just the beacon of consistency has been Amanda Lorenz in her time here. Coach Walton has said one of the best players that he has ever coached, Amanda Lorenz. Bouncer, back up the middle into right center field, and Lorenz, just like that, she's on to lead off the Gator bottom half of the first inning.
And that's just what Lorenz does. She gets 2 strikes, and she is never defeated. She just gets better when she has 2 strikes. You even saw the second baseman, Ichiguchi, kind of shifting over towards first base, making it easy for that single up the middle.
Now here's Kendyl Lindaman, one of the best acquisitions in collegiate softball, coming over from the University of Minnesota. I'm sure Coach Walton had a smile from ear to ear once he found out Kendyl Lindaman was going to make her way to Gainesville. Has had back-to-back 20 home run years in her freshman and sophomore campaigns as a Golden Gopher. Flares this one in the air. Here's Sugama, the third baseman, has it for the first out. Brings in Danielle Romanello, and we were talking before the game and how lethal this lineup can be if you have players like Danielle Romanello take the next step, somebody like Jamie Hoover who's on deck. This could be one of the best offenses in the country. So far, Romanello off to a good start, too, hitting .400. She had 2 home runs in that tournament in South Florida.
What's really scary is the depth that Florida has. You have someone like Romanello that's been a pinch hitter in her 2 previous seasons, but now is going to be able to be the third batter in this lineup this year.
Yeah, that's a big adjustment to make, to go from a pinch hitter, you see at bats every once in a while, to all of a sudden in one of the best lineups be the number 3 hitter.
I mean, you have to think, though, each one of these athletes that were recruited here, they were their number 1 at their travel ball.
Right.
So they understand what that spotlight's like.
Lorenz takes off, throw down to second, is in time. Lorenz got cut off trying to slide into second base, gunned down by Akusama, the catcher.
And unfortunately, that was just a tough pitch to steal off of. It was a rise ball. It was elevated, making it easy for the catcher, Akusama, to throw her out with a bullet to second.
Looks like just got Lorenz with the tag. This one lifted in the air deep towards right field. Gucci's there on the warning track. And that ends the inning. Well, we head now to the second as Romanello gave it a ride, and we should have former longtime athletic director Jeremy Foley coming up on the other side. Still no score.
Facility, but the other thing that that really struck me, it's also the type of facility this program deserves. What Tim has done, what the players have done, you know, this is the type of facility the University of Florida should have. So incredibly excited that tonight has finally come to fruition.
Yamato Fujita leads it off for Team Japan. And when you hired Tim, of course, when you bring somebody into the program to lead the program, you want them to have success. Did you have any inkling that it would be this good when Coach Walton came in to take charge of the program?
If I had that inkling, I'd still be the AD, and but don't have that type of crystal ball. Thought there was a little something special about him. I liked what he had done at Wichita State. He'd gone there. I like the fact, I'll be honest, I told someone this other day, that he was on the mound in Oklahoma City when Oklahoma won a national championship. He got the ball the last day, and I think that somebody gets given that opportunity means there's a little something to him.
This is bludgeoned through the left side by Fujita. Has a leadoff hit, second hit for Team Japan. And Coach Walton had said before the Gators had won the 2014 World Series that this is something that was in the works. Can you take the audience through when this became somewhat of reality that this could happen?
Well, at the end of the day, a lot of people build facilities to try to help with recruiting, and obviously this is going to help with recruiting, but you also could look at the type of program Tim built without this facility. Probably the driving force behind it is that you have an incredible support by the city of Gainesville. We didn't have enough seats. We didn't have enough restrooms, concession stands. You had people hanging from the trees. If you're going to have that type of program, you want fans to come support you and sit in comfort, have a little bit of shade. Obviously, that's the goal with the new baseball stadium as well. So, we started dreaming about it, about 2 or 3 years ago, and one of the last things that I did was kind of put it on the table, and obviously Scott Strickland, brought it home. So it is an incredible addition to our program.
Kind of going off what you just said, I mean, what is it like to have a sport like softball, which considered quote unquote non-revenue, but to kind of bring in some revenue and to see the fans come out and support a team like softball?
Yeah, I mean, again, when you have the type of product that we have here, obviously you were a big part of it, and you know what goes on in this program, but to have the type of support we have the type of program we have, this is, as I said, the type of facility this city needed, this university needed, and obviously this program needed.
And how much a part of the creative process were you when all the details were being ironed out? How much were you in kind of that trio with Scott Strickland and Tim Walton?
I was in charge of everything that people like, and Scott was in charge of everything that people don't like. Okay. But in all reality, I was not part of the creative process. My biggest contribution to this was hiring Tim Walton, and but obviously Scott and his staff are the ones who put this together and obviously did an incredible job.
Punched out towards right. Romanello watches that land right in front of her as Fujita heads down to third. 2 hits in the inning for Team Japan and runners on the corner. So if a Gator fan comes through the gates and here at renovated KDC Show Presley Stadium, what's the type of experience you think they're going to get?
Well, first of all, you walk in and you see the field right in front of you. I think that's an incredible vision as you walk in. It kind of reminds me of when the first time I walked into Fenway Park, all I could see was green, and it just blew me away. That's what they're going to see, and obviously not only incredible talent, but excitement, noise, fun. This is, people who have not experienced a Gator softball game are really missing out because, and I don't think we have a ton of tickets to sell, so I'm not trying to sell tickets here. I'm just telling the truth. That this is the place to be, and they're going to see one of the best teams in the country, one of the best coaches in the country, playing in the best league in the country. So it's pretty special.
I have to ask.
Okay.
Ever in your wildest dreams, when you first hired Coach Walton, when I sat in your office on my recruiting visit back in 2005, did you envision this? Did you see this happening?
No. I mean, did I envision that Tim would get us a national championship? Yeah, I really thought he could do that. Obviously, every time we hire a coach, that's the goal. But it's more than just winning a national championship. What Tim has built, it's just the consistency, to just what he has built. I was telling someone the other day, he just absolutely changed the culture of a whole program. And when you change the culture, it's that way for a long, long time. But no, you can't envision going to Oklahoma City so many times, building a facility like this, $15 million facility. The one we built when we added softball cost $2 million. So the world has definitely changed, but all for the good. But no, and I'm very incredibly proud of what people like you did, what so many people before you did, after you have done, and certainly what Tim has done.
Harada flies out to left, but that will bring in a run as Fujita scores, and Team Japan takes an early 1-0 lead in the top of the second inning. Well, how about this southwest side of campus? You have the baseball stadium that's getting set to go up, Disney Stadium with soccer and lacrosse. This is kind of the hub of athletics, isn't it?
This is becoming the hub, and it's it's a testimony to the expansion of this program. At one point we wanted to keep everything on campus, and then our program has grown to the point where it just isn't possible anymore. So yeah, things are going to be hopping out here in the spring in a couple of years when all those facilities are completed.
You going to try to come out to more softball games this year?
Yeah, I don't miss many.
I know you don't.
In fact, I found my seat. I think it's going to be up there outside of Tim Walton's office.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're going for that and not the Stacey Nelson Plaza?
No, I think, well, if Stacey's here, I'll go to the Stacey Nelson Plaza.
I will tell her that.
You tell her that.
She will fly over here from Uganda immediately.
You tell her I said hello also.
I will. Okay.
Here's Agatsuma, the catcher, here with 2 outs. Sac fly in the inning for Team Japan. They have a 1-0 lead. And Coach Walton had said that he didn't realize how many details goes into a process like this, and you've been a part of course, building facilities in the past. Just take the audience through how much in terms of the detail process really is it when you're trying to build a building? It's
an incredible process. I mean, the amount of time people spend in meetings, in rooms, looking at blueprints, talking, changing, adding. I don't think anybody can understand the type of time it takes just to get to the point where you can put a shovel into the ground. And then once the shovel goes in the ground, there's a million things you didn't think about, or how about this? Can we change this? It's an incredible effort by hundreds of people to get where it is right now.
This one is rolling towards Reynoso, fires to first. Well, Jeremy Foley, thank you so much for coming up.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you, Francesca. So good to see you.
That it takes that goes into a project like this, and he certainly did give us a lot of insight in what goes into that process. Now Jamie Hoover will lead it off for the Florida Gators. It's Hoover, Adams, and Roberts. Gators only sent 3 to the plate in the first inning. Amanda Lorenz had a leadoff single, then was cut off the base paths on a caught stealing. So we'll be 4, 5, and 6 for Florida. That comes in at 5-0. Of course, the numbers in this game won't matter in terms of the normal season. They won't attach to those numbers, but again, this is certainly a chance for this Florida team to be tested here tonight.
Oh, 100%. I mean, they're facing one of the best pitchers in the entire country, so it's really almost just setting them up for success the rest of the way.
Here's Hoover, 3:57 start at the plate. As Nozomi Ozaki back inside the circle. Jamie Hoover, somebody who made a big step up from her freshman to sophomore year, had a big postseason for Florida, had 6 runs driven in the regional round, hit .210 her freshman year, went up to .311 her sophomore campaign.
And she's just another example of how much depth Florida's always had, and just waiting for their opportunity to just kind of cement themselves in that lineup. And this is the year where she can really do that.
Hoover, another one of those versatile pieces, too. We saw her in the infield a little bit in her freshman year, and now playing more outfield, played the outfield last year, playing left field here tonight. It's one of those thought processes that whatever it takes to get in the lineup.
Well, Coach used to always say, as long as you can hit, we'll find you a place. And as long as you can hit in more runs than you give up, then you're golden.
And this Florida lineup can hit. put up 15 runs in their opener against Illinois State. Won that one 15-0. Beat number 19 Michigan 6-0 in Game 2 of the year. As Hoover swings, and this is throwing to first to complete the putout. So Hoover goes down on strikes, and there's one away.
You know, even though Hoover gets the K on that, that was still a really good at-bat. She saw a lot of pitches. She brought it to a full count and batted a lot. That was something that the Gators offense definitely needed, especially to kind of shake up the pitcher Ozaki, who was cruised 1, 2, 3 in the beginning.
Brings in Hannah Adams. Also, a different alignment for where the Gators bullpen is now. It's beyond the left field fence. That's another adjustment made with the renovations. Normally it was down the third base line. So there you see some Gators warming up down the, or rather in the left center field gap. More room for the pitchers to work out there.
Yeah, currently, or the old stadium used to only have 2 lanes for pitchers to throw. But now, I mean, you could fit 4 that's in there. And if you wanted to very tightly, you could fit 1 more. But you have a lot more space to kind of work in there and get yourself prepped.
Adams goes down on strikes. 2 Ks in the inning for Ozaki. There's 2 gone here in the second. Brings in Jordan Roberts. And I have not had a chance to see the locker room yet, but I've heard great things, and of course, the locker room was probably one of the first things that was thought of in the renovation. I'm sure the players are definitely taken care of. And the new facility, new building down the third base line, giant structure down the third base line. Kind of acts as a lounge area as the game goes along. And direct access to the dugouts from that building as well underneath. As Roberts bounces this to third. Good play by Hitoka Harada. This one's aired out towards left field. Hoover's there for the first out. Getting to Kelly Barnhill too, Francesca, she had said in an article in the preseason that in a way she's playing the underdog role. And a lot of people say, well, that's like the New England Patriots playing the underdog role. Well, she didn't make the 2019 Team USA roster, so she's using that as having a little bit of a chip on her shoulder this year.
I mean, when you think about it, every single year, whether it's Team USA or whether it's college softball, we're talking about how great Kelly Barnhill is. And we can't forget that these ladies are from the ages of 19 to 22, so that's a lot of pressure to put on her. So now being able to come this year, her senior season, and have that chip, but also be relaxed at the same time, she feels way more confident in the circle.
Take a look at the strikeout numbers she's had. Last 2 years, had 359 strikeouts as a sophomore. That was the absurd year she had. She finished the campaign with a .51 ERA. Last year was an inflated 108 for the season. Swing and a miss, and a throw down to first. Completes the Kelly Barnhill strikeout. There's 2 away. There you take a look at the career numbers for Kelly Barnhill. That outstanding sophomore season, 13 strikeouts per 7 innings.
I mean, that's what just Barnhill does. You know that she's going to get a lot of strikeouts, but where she needs to grow, as we said, limit the walks and just be way more efficient.
And like we said, too, the home run numbers this year have to come down for Kelly Barnhill, and I'm sure that's one of the first things that she would say. She gave up 21 home runs last year. That's opposed to that sophomore season. She only gave up 5. And Kelly's somebody who is certainly a perfectionist, as this is a fair ball over the first base bag towards the right field corner. Yuka Ichiguchi is in with a 2-out double for Team Japan. So for Barnhill, she's somebody who is a perfectionist, and that's tough in this game, right? Especially when you play in the SEC. You can't be perfect all the time, and a lot of the expectation for media pundits is that she has to be perfect all the time.
Oh, 100%. And I think a big thing that's going to help her this season is bringing in the new pitching coach, Mike Bosch, that comes in with some new techniques and some new energy.
The fans, for the umpires, the visiting team, for the home team, and obviously for the media staff that covers us every single weekend.
And a part of making that fan experience better, Francesca, now you have the giant shade structures on the concourse, and that Florida heat won't be as bad now for those wanting to come to the ballpark and watch a game.
I mean, that's huge. You know what this stadium looks like in May during regionals and super regionals. You just have fans that are covered with wet towels trying to cool off. You have one umbrellas, you got to stay to the back, but now everyone will be able to be covered in that shade. It's going to be huge.
Meanwhile, new pitcher Yamato Fujita, who came in last inning, is back out inside the circle. Sophia Reynoso at the plate, and also for those really bad rainstorms that come through, especially regional time, you have some extra cover as well for the fans. Cue towards second base. Ichiguchi comes up with it. One away. Well, there's a lot of details that went into this project for the renovation at Katie Seashore Presley Stadium. $15 million, the 360-degree concourse, along with the chairback seating, the new elevated press box, and the increased capacity as well, so more fans can come into the ballpark. But like Coach Walton said, it's not necessarily about the attendance numbers, it's about the experience the consumer has. And if you're somebody who plays softball at a very young age, you get a very up-close and personal view of the game out there in left field, where most times you'll see Amanda Lorenz out in left, one of the nation's best. Not a bad seat out there.
I just love that you're able to walk around the entire outfield and really feel this ballpark and see what's happening. I mean, I can even remember with the way that the stadium used to be set up with the bullpen, there used to be kids that would be hanging over that bullpen trying to get pictures with Kelly, trying to get pictures with Lily Ocasio or Stephanie Braunbacher, Hannah Rogers, all those great pitchers in the past. But now they can really get up close and personal and see them put in that work.
And if you're a young girl playing the game of softball, you might want to bring out a notebook when Kelly Barnhill is doing her bullpen out there. It's a good thought, isn't it?
I mean, really, with any one of those Gator pitchers out there, bring your notebook, bring your tape recorder. I don't think they have tape recorders anymore, though.
They still do.
Yeah, you can just record with your phone.
They certainly still have them. Meanwhile, here's Hannah Sipos, a part of brand new freshman class, one of 8 freshmen. A lot of players have raved about how good she is defensively, how quick her hands are at third base.
I think Amanda Lorenz even said that, no offense to Nicole DeWitt, but she might even be better over there at third, which is a huge thing to say because Nicole DeWitt was incredible.
And incredible having to make the adjustment, DeWitt, from second to third base, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the fans are going to be very, very thrilled to see what Sipos can do over there in the hot corner.
Sipos down on strikes. It's a third K for Team Japan pitching. 2 outs in the third. Brings in Alex Voss, one of 3 captains for head coach Tim Walton this year. Coach Walton has called her a fierce competitor. We'll see more ABs this season. Showcased some power last year, too, that maybe not a lot of people thought she had. Kind of categorized maybe as a slapper, but she sent some deep in the outfield, especially the other way last year. Had 4 doubles, were her first career doubles all last year.
And that's really just what Coach Walton's able to do. He has such a great eye when it comes to hitting. And when you get someone like Voss, who was really just used for speed, he helped develop her swing and create more of that dynamic power.
Bounce back to Vegeta. Snags it and throws on to first for the final out of the inning. So the Gators go down 1-2-3 once again. Conversation 2, that number 2 spot in the starting rotation. Of course, Kelly's inked in as the number 1 starter. It's kind of up for grabs, and maybe a candidate for that is Danny Farley.
And that's what Coach Walton is asking for. He needs to know who's going to be his Saturday starter. And so far, Farley's been given that opportunity. She throws the ball very firm with a curve and kind of a screw, they call it. They say it's a screw, but it really looks like a curveball. But, man, can she locate east and west on that plate?
Kelly Barnhill went 3 innings, allowed 4 hits. 1 run was a sac fly in the second inning. As Yamato Fujita lines that off the glove of Farley into center field. Second hit for Yamato Fujita. Well, Danny Farley, welcome into this one. First pitch, comebacker right near the facial region. Yikes.
That's one of the scariest feelings as a pitcher. But when you're a competitor in the circle, you're not thinking, oh man, I don't want to get hit in the face. You're thinking, hit your spot next time.
Right. There's Minori Naito, first baseman for Team Japan. Lays down a bunt. Charging in is Saipos to the covering Adams for the out. Sacrifice successful, and there's 1 gone.
That was a tough play for Saipos to kind of come up with that. This bunt was laid down beautifully, just dead and right in front of it. She comes up and she collects it off the run and has to float the ball over the runner's head. Kudos to Adams, the second baseman, to hold on to that and to keep her eye on it.
Well, that's part of the outstanding defensive prowess from Hannah Saipos at third base. That's part of that expectation when you're recruited by head coach Tim Walton. It's almost kind of defense first. Can you play defense? Can you be a plus defender?
Well, especially for certain positions like third, shortstop, second. You know, he's realized that, hey, defense wins championships, and that's our strong suit, and that's what we need to have.
Gators the last 3 years are one of the better teams in the country in terms of fielding percentage. Last 3 years, they've had their top 3 in terms of fielding percentages in program history. Fewest errors the last 3 seasons as well. You see Coach Thomas and Coach Walton. This will be the 3rd time this year Farley will be inside the circle. Of course, this won't be attached to her season stats, but saw 2 appearances in that USF tournament against Illinois State and Arizona. Faces Sugama, the third baseman. Bashes this towards third. Side post checks the runner. Toss across, 2 away. Brings in Nodoka Harada, taking another look at that tremendous play from Saipos.
I mean, that's just routine for Saipos. But being able to look that runner back at second base, Japan's a very aggressive team on the base pass. And you always have to remember someone like Saipos, Farley, they're freshmen. So there's some nerves playing in this big new stadium, but you can already see almost this veteran-esque with Hannah Saipos over there at third.
I was going to ask you, too, how that heartbeat must be fluttering for some of these players right now, playing in front of this crowd. Of course, their first game's away from home, but this is a very big crowd. This is kind of a big stage for them.
Oh, absolutely. And just being, and almost, it's historical, opening up Katie Cecil Presley Stadium tonight.
Lifted in the air, deep towards left field. Hoover going back, and Harada drills a 2-run shot, and Team Japan has a 3-0 lead. Nodoka Harada, 2-run shot, and has all 3 RBI for Team Japan.
And that's one of those situations for the freshman Farley. She can't put her head down after giving up that home run. This is a great hitting offense. And the one thing that you're going to learn as a freshman is that you cannot miss your spots, because that level, especially the professional level, they're going to eat you up there. And so this is just going to be a great learning experience for Farley at this point.
Brings in Akatsuma, the catcher. Now 6 hits for Team Japan. Gators, meanwhile, only 1 hit that came to lead off the game from Amanda Lorenz, and nothing since. They've gone down in order.
Japan choosing to go with Fujita out there in the circle. That's their number 2. So they respect Florida. So they know what kind of offense that Florida has.
And they played, at least for 6 innings, what was a nail-biter last night against USF. Was a 1-0 game going into the 7th inning. Bouncer towards side post, routine, inning over. But Nudoka Harada, a 2-run shot, expands the Team Japan lead. All 3 runs driven in for Harada. Mid-4. Team Japan now up by 3 runs. As we welcome you back to KDC Show Presley Stadium on a very special night, this exhibition game and opening up the renovations to KDC Show Presley Stadium, $15 million in renovations. And you take a look at the fan experience now. I was looking around the ballpark during the break, and now you have the chair back seating, so it's a little bit more comfortable for those fans sitting around the ballpark. The concourse area, chance to get some food as well and still watch the game. Here's Amanda Lorenz as the lone Gator hit. Came to lead off the game. Gators have gone down in order since.
First baseman, Amanda Lorenz.
How about the year last year for Lorenz? SEC Player of the Year, hit .416 a year ago. Reached base in every single game. First Gator to do that in program history.
I just can't help but have the biggest smile when I see Amanda Lorenz, because she just does things the right way. And I'm not talking about productivity, but just takes care of business. She comes to the field and she is the hardest working. She is one of the captains on this team. She takes care of the small things all the time. And you can see her heart and her fight and everything that she does. And I can't agree more with Coach Walton when he says she is one of the best players to ever wear the Gator uniform.
And certainly one of the core leaders on this team. Very vocal with her teammates. She said when she won the SEC Player of the Year, she said it doesn't really matter. It's about the national championships. And you truly believe that when Amanda Lorenz says it. And some players maybe you don't, but Lorenz you do.
You totally do. She is just she is the example of what a team player is. And, I wish there were more Amanda Lorenzes out there.
Cued to third. A hop for Sugama gets Lorenz for the first out. Brings in Kendyl Lindaman, 2-time Big Ten Player of the Year. went into the transfer portal and was one of the first players that Coach Walton had contacted about being a Florida Gator. On December 7th, she said she was coming to Gainesville.
I mean, obviously we knew how important it would be to try to get someone to bat behind Lorenz, bring in that righty power, but also potentially another catcher behind the plate. Right now you have Jordan Roberts back there, but you need more than just one out there.
Dealt with a meniscus tear, first day of fall training with Minnesota in early September, so had to rehab that. Coach Walton had said she only had one swing and miss in off-season training.
I think the best thing that Lindaman's been able to bring is, I mean, she's transferred over here in January, started playing with the team just a month ago, and the girls have said that she's fit into this unit like she's been part of the program forever. She's very easygoing. She understands what this culture is, and she fits in just perfectly with the team.
One of two transfers, the other Jade Caraway from NC State, and that's part of the culture here too, and the leadership is that a transfer can come in and it feels right away like family.
You know, and that really just kind of brings us back to where we started this conversation, because it starts with those captains, with Lorenz, Reynoso, and Alex Voss.
Last year, Lindaman had 20 home runs, 55 RBI, and it's easy for that to fit in as well. That type of production as Lindaman works a walk. Only the second Gator base runner tonight. Comes in the bottom of the fourth inning. That's the first walk from Team Japan pitching as well. Brings in Danielle Romanello.
And Lindaman just being able to show her patience and not chasing those curveballs from Fujita out there. Those are tough pitches to try to lay off of.
Meanwhile, Danny Farley comes in at first base. Will pinch run. Mentioned the great weekend that Danielle Romanello had. Hit 400, 2 home runs in that tournament. Gators played a pair of top 25 teams. Played number 7 Arizona, number 19 Michigan. This is a very tough schedule this year for the Florida Gators, especially in the non-conference, and then you enter SEC play with 11 teams in the top 25. Here's Romanello with one out.
You know, but that's exactly why Coach Walton likes to start off playing at that tournament down at USF, because you know you're going to be facing at least 3 ranked programs. So it kind of gets you started, gets that adrenaline pumping.
Gators will head to Arizona as well for a tournament after they play North Florida. That will start on Friday, and they will play at Cal State Fullerton in a tournament as well out west. So they'll play in Arizona and California, play a plethora of big-time opponents in those tournaments. They'll have UCLA, Oregon, Washington as a part of some of those teams. They'll play in the non-conference this year and then enter SEC play with the Lady Vols right away.
I mean, just kickstart right there. Let's go.
Also, Arizona State, very good softball program as well. They'll play them in that tournament this weekend. Romanello rockets this foul.
I mean, we got to keep our eye on Romanello right now, because even in her first at-bat, she just missed hitting that ball out over the right field fence. Just kind of pulled off that last pitch there. Probably needs to sit, think change here if I'm her.
And one of the peak moments for Romanello in her freshman year was in the Alabama series in Game 3 that helped clinch that series. Had all 3 runs driven in that tight contest against the Crimson Tide to decide that series. Was doing an interview on national TV and got the Gatorade bath in the process of doing that interview. It was one of the nights Danielle Romanello will never forget. This, by the way, is the 3rd straight full count for Team Japan pitching.
I mean, that's one of those moments, too. As a coach, you put in a young freshman and say, hey, you need to try to do something that our offense has not been able to do. And then to succeed, you know that she can handle the pressure. You know that she can succeed underneath that pressure.
Romanello strikes out. That'll bring in Jamie Hoover, now 2 away. Fourth strikeout for Team Japan pitching. Here's somebody with some high expectations this year. She had 5 hits in that tournament at USF. Jamie Hoover, home run, 5 runs driven in. Had a couple of sparkling defensive plays, too, in that Oklahoma game in the Women's College World Series. One where she went down the right field line, kind of hit up against the right field fence to make a catch. Made another nice catch in the gap, and what was an elimination Saturday game, Gators eventually fell. Gators have been to the World Series 9 times in the last 11 years. Absolutely incredible. All of those trips under head coach Tim Walton. Slow roller to short. Natsumi has it in time for the final out of the inning. So the Gators do get a base runner on a Lindaman walk, but nothing more. As we head to the 5th, Japan still a 3-run edge.
Be the best on the battlefield with new Nerf Rival Hypnos. Switch up the strategy with the foldable stock. Dominate, reloading on the run with the ejectable clip. The all-new Nerf Rival Hypnos. Bring only the best. Nothing but Nerf.
Beautiful night here in Gainesville. 3-0 Team Japan as we head to the top of the 5th inning. There you take a look at the brand new press box, chairback seating. Now it's Elizabeth Hightower inside the circle. 3rd Gator pitcher tonight in relief of Danny Farley in this 5th inning. So again, this is another chance, Francesca, for another one of those young pieces to step in against a very tough lineup.
And just trying to get them experience early on in the season, being able to face a tough lineup like Team Japan has. This is big experience for a freshman like Hightower right now.
First collegiate pitching appearance came against the University of South Florida on February 10th. In that tournament this past weekend, went 2 innings, did not allow a hit in that game. Also had no walks to 4 strikeouts. Will be 8-9-1 for Team Japan. There's Mana Atsumi, the shortstop. Soft liner back up the middle. Adams can't make the play. Trickles into center field. Atsumi has the 7th hit for Team Japan. Well, Francesca, we talked about it a little bit earlier. Change to the Gator pitching coach. Jen Rocha leaving for Oklahoma to take that job, pitching coach job there. And now Mike Bosch, former head coach at Syracuse, comes over to work on Coach Walton's staff.
And kind of just like with all the transfers, like we were saying, he's kind of come into this staff and has just really fit into this unit. He's brought in this new energy and these kind of different ways of techniques that the pitchers are just flocking to.
Grounded to Hightower for 1, turn to first, not in time.
Okay, that's a heads-up play from the freshman in the circle. She gives up her first hit and then gets this hard comebacker, but knows exactly where she's going to go with it, sets her feet up, and gives a good throw over there to Reynoso at second.
So Gucci just races that throw out, and we'll bring in Yuka Ichiguchi. Foul pop. Lorenz plays it off the netting. And one thing that always got brought up with pitching coach Mike Bosch was that he's very analytical. He'll print out reports on every single pitch. He's a big numbers guy, and you can think that fits right in with Coach Walton, who's all about the details.
Oh, 100%. And they're really being able to get these pitchers to kind of look at things a little bit differently, which has just been elevating their game even more.
Lined into the gap, left center field. Voss cuts it off as Iguchi goes first to third, and in with the double is Yuka Ichiguchi. Team Japan set up second and third here with 1 out.
And Hightower out there in the circle. Now, she really relies on that rise ball and a changeup. And that's one thing that you're going to learn as a freshman, that when you have a rise ball, you just can't leave it hanging. You got to make sure that you elevate it, because those good hitters are going to get on top of it. And that's exactly what Ichiguchi did there.
Meanwhile, Ichiguchi is 3 for 3 with 2 doubles. 9 of the 20 Team Japan hitters have swung at the first pitch. Here's Saki Yamazaki, 0 for 2.
I mean, every single one of these batters in the Japan lineup can do something deadly, but this is the girl that has the most power with Saki Yamazaki.
We mentioned that game, too, in the World Softball Championships that was played in front of 12,000 people that had clinched the gold medal for Team USA and had set their spot in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. It was a 7-6 game, went 10 innings, and the Gator connections in that game. Aubrey Monroe had the RBI ground rule double late in that game to tie it, and then Kelsey Stewart, the game-winning walk-off single. Also, Michelle Moultrie as well in the 8th inning had a run-scoring hit that tied the game in the 8th. Throw to home is in time. Reynoso with a quick trigger to Lindaman at home plate for the out. Cuts off the run. Now there's 2 away.
And that's just showing off that great, solid Gator D. Reynoso. That leadership, knows exactly where she's going to go. She doesn't hesitate, and just able to give Lindaman, the catcher, a strong throw to give that easy tag. You know, those are the plays that you practice over and over again, but when it happens in real time, there's a little bit more pressure.
This one was roped down the third base line by Yamato Fujita. Everybody's safe down that third base line. That one was absolutely smoked.
I know there's one thing that surprises me about what wasn't built in here is that, you know, Florida's known to have a lot of righty hitters that pull the ball and scary in that third base area.
Yeah.
Not having a fence there. I'm kidding.
Little L screen in the third base.
Exactly, yeah.
They have the netting now, Francesca, that kind of extends all the way down the lines. It was really well done inside the ballpark. Something Coach Walton raved about as well. The netting inside the ballpark that doesn't obstruct any of the views of the fans as well.
I know there's no poles. I mean, I'm so used to seeing those poles. When I don't see them blocking the view, it's just like, wow, man, They did this right.
Meanwhile, Fujita is 2 for 2. Team Japan trying to add to a 3-0 lead here with 2 outs. Japan got on the board early with the sac fly in the 2nd inning and then a 2-run home run in the 4th, both from Nodoka Harada. Meanwhile, the Gators will have their official home opener tomorrow when they take on the University of North Florida. Those were 2 games that weren't originally a part of the schedule. Team Japan was added a little bit late in the process. This one is nubbed in front of home plate. Hightower trying to go for the tag, cannot. And that is the 4th Team Japan run as Ichiguchi scores. And it's now 4-0.
Well, you see Fujita just kind of nubs this ball in, and Hightower, knowing that she only has this one play because it's taking her in, her momentum is taking her towards the runner, and so she dives to try to get that tag, but the umpire didn't see it and calls her safe.
Did she touch home plate here? It looks like she touched the back end of home plate. Now it's 4-0 Team Japan.
I mean, there's really not much you can do in that situation. You're just trying to get the out. It's the only play she had.
Here's Minori Naito, first baseman. Hightower just couldn't get there in time. Is that Fujita kind of swinging bunt being considered a fielder's choice?
And that's just the tough thing about these Japan hitters is that they have a lot of power. They understand their zone, but they also have such great hand-eye coordination that they're always going to be able to put the ball in play and put pressure on the defense. That's exactly what happened for them in that situation.
Rolled to Adams, goes the short way for the final out of the inning. So Team Japan now.
Yeah,
of course not,
just the
right?
superstar.
Maybe a future Gator softball player.
I think she's already committed, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It was during the time when early commitments were still allowed. Yeah.
There's no other school that she can commit to, right? It's Florida all the way, right?
I mean, in my mind, yes.
Maybe just not Georgia, right, Francesca? Of course, Francesca, former Gator great. Here's Hannah Adams to lead off the 5th inning. Right next to Tim Walton.
Well, like I said, he keeps an eye on all of his recruits.
Always recruiting.
Making sure that they're doing good.
How about this crowd here tonight? Not a seat to be had. See Albert and Alberta, the mascots, walking around the concourse area as well. Adams flares this to shallow left. Harada in, makes the catch.
You know, I have to tell you this, Kyle, because you're kind of new to the Florida program, but when I was a freshman back in 2007 when we played my freshman year, I mean, we had as many fans come to the game that were in the outfield.
Right.
And just to see the growth, the expansion, and the dedication that these fans have, it really just makes me speechless. I stumble to see it, and I absolutely just love it.
And during the postseason, especially the super regional round against Texas A&M, there were fans that were all throughout the outfield for that, and just fans in standing room only, down the berms, down the right and left field lines. There was a fire truck at one point watching the game from the road beyond the right field fence. And now with the expanded capacity, more fans can have a comfortable experience inside the ballpark.
Exactly. They can just be able to know that, hey, we're going to get a good seat. We're going to be covered with shade. We have the awesome concession stands. We can walk around the park. You don't just have to sit in your seat to be able to watch the game. You can really have that experience of just enjoying the entire facility.
And I think one phrase comes to mind. It has a major league vibe to it, with the ability to walk around, like you said, and watch the game. And just how it looks kind of feels major league with the green padded fencing. And I think in a way maybe that's what Coach Walton was going for. He took a little major league ballparks and kind of took some things and put it into this one.
I completely agree with you. And that's what I do when I go to a major league game. I buy a ticket and just walk around. And that's what you can do here.
Because when you think about it, Gator fans, they're paying, one, to watch the game, but paying for the experience too. And you want to give them both of those things. Meanwhile, you see Natalie Lugo warming up in the brand new Gator bullpen. That bullpen used to be down the third base line. As Roberts strikes out. As Fujita has been dominant. And the lone Gator hit was Amanda Lorenz to lead off the game against Nozomi Ozaki, the starter, who went 1 inning. Now here's Sophia Reynoso, who's 0 for 1.
I mean, this is probably going to be one of the best rise balls that they're going to see when it comes to Fujita.
You see some Gator fans doing the Gator chomp. Lifted in the air towards right. And is Iguchi to make the grab. And that will end the inning. So Team Japan is in cruise control through 5 innings. And what is a beautiful night here in Gainesville. Japan a 4-0 lead in the top of the 6th inning. We mentioned lacrosse, and we talked about it with former athletic director at Florida, Jeremy Foley, in the 2nd inning, that the southwest side of campus will be the hub of almost all athletics. You have soccer and lacrosse at Disney Stadium, the brand new baseball stadium that's being built, and now softball here.
And for the longest time, softball was almost isolated from all of the sports, and now, just like you said, it's like the second hub, bringing it all together.
This one's lifted out towards shallow left center field. Base hit for Akiko Suhara, but that one was caught on the dive by Sophia Reynoso out in shallow left center field. Brilliant play by the Gators shortstop.
Already seen some some ESPN top plays here. Reynoso, who was playing in, inspecting something short, able to take a solid drop step, turn her body around, and with that last reach of extension, gets that out. That is a huge play from Reynoso.
Flashing that leather is the Gators shortstop. Brilliant over-the-shoulder catch for the first out here in the 6th. Here's Nodoka Hirata. Had a 2-run home run in the 4th inning. Had the first 3 Team Japan runs driven in. Take a look at that shot from Hirata.
And that was just absolutely crushed. Fastball kind of left out over the outside middle part of the plate. And you can see the adjustment that Hightower's making has been locating her screwball inside on the hand so she doesn't get anything extended. The pitch right before Hirata pulled that one. You can't ask for a more beautifully placed pitch. It was right on the black part of the plate.
Francesca, what have you seen from the freshman pitchers so far in Farley and Hightower?
Well, especially with Hightower, I'm loving her composure out there. I love how she'd made that dive. I like how she's attacking the hitters and not afraid to kind of miss out of the zone.
It's one rope towards the Gator dugout. Thankful for the netting down there. Gators scatter in that dugout.
That kind of goes back to what we were saying, all those pull hitters, they needed more protection in there, especially with the concrete, the back of the dugout. That kind of goes back to what we were saying, all those pull hitters, they needed more protection in there, especially with the concrete, the back of the dugout. Get that ricochet sometimes.
Cued back to Hightower. And there's quickly 2 away.
Just an incredible job by Hightower in the circle. She did not let Hirata get extended on anything, just really worked her inside.
So Hightower comes out, gets a round of applause from the Gator faithful, and a chance for Natalie Lugo to step in against Team Japan. We'll step aside. Team Japan 4-0 lead with 2 gone in the 6th.
Where are you?
Well, the squirrels are back in the attic.
Mom?
Your dad won't call an exterminator.
Can I call you back, Mom?
He says it's personal this time.
If you're a mom, you call it the worst time. It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico. It's what you do.
Where are you? It's very loud there. Are you taking a Zumba class?
Do humans like overpaying with Verizon? Don't they know they can get the 3rd, 4th, and 5th lines free with Sprint?
Yeah, that means Sprint's unlimited plan gives you 5 lines for just $20 per month per line.
Really?
Robots don't lie.
See how you can save more than $1,000 in the first year with Sprint.
So enter in Natalie Lugo, and her sophomore campaign comes in with a 1-0 mark, .81 ERA. Good start to the season down in South Florida, and we mentioned the conversation about who's going to be the number 2 starter in this rotation. I think right now Lugo is that top candidate.
Well, I think all these pitchers really work so well together and they complement each other so well when you have Hightower and Farley who throw the ball very firm, and then you're able to bring in Lugo, who's more of that finesse type of pitcher, relying on her curve, backdoor curve, and then her changeup as well. She's able to mix those speeds up and keep those batters off balanced.
Here's Haruka Agatsuma, who's 0 for 2. Pair of ground outs. And for Natalie Lugo, she saw expanded reps in the offseason in the fall, preparing for that expanded role this year. Flared shot towards second. Adams charging in, and that will retire the side. So Natalie Lugo, 1 batter faced. and 9th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. You can catch both meets on SEC Network and the ESPN app. More young fans inside the ballpark tonight. Been a fun debut. The ribbon-cutting ceremony prior to this one. A lot of excitement in the air for Florida Gators softball. And Francesca, they're off to a 5-0 start. Again, these results don't matter in terms of the regular season results, but when you look at the grand scheme of things, they've jumped up in the rankings in terms of the NFCA poll. Gators are now 4th in the nation in a pristine 5-0 start.
I mean, you always know Florida's going to produce a talented team. They have a great roster, but I think what sets this team apart is just how much team chemistry that they've been able to create. And anyone who's ever won a championship knows that that team chemistry is what's key when it comes down the road when you're talking about getting to Oklahoma City.
Well, here's a pinch hitter, Jade Caraway, one of 2 transfers on Coach Walton's roster this year from NC State. Caraway got her first Gator hit against Illinois State in the first game of the year. Also had her first Gator RBI in that game as well. Hit .255 in her final season at NC State. Was on the All-SEC freshman team in 2017 with the Wolfpack.
You're going to see Caraway on that left side coming with the slap, but she's way more of a power slapper than anything. She's looking to put the ball into the green.
Her last year at NC State in the ACC, led the team in hits with 41, also 34 runs scored. Was the primary center fielder with the Wolfpack. Here she strikes out, and there's one away. And also that completes the ballpark experience, Francesca, when you have a dog in the crowd.
Oh, that just looks like a good boy right there. Look at that little dog.
Not watching the game, though. Looking the other direction, just enjoying the petting.
I mean, yeah, he knows what he wants. He's looking for those good pets. He's like, where'd you go? Come on. Yeah.
Meanwhile, here's Jordan Matthews, been hitting in the 9 spot for Alex Voss. The last swing in KSP prior to the renovations came off the bat of Jordan Matthews that sent everybody into a frenzy and sent the Gators to their 9th Women's College World Series in the last 11 years. Just over the left center field fence.
In my opinion, there are 2 hits in the entire Gator softball history that are iconic, and that is one of them. When, you thought Florida wasn't going to get there, wasn't going to do it, and then boom, the freshman steps up.
Matthews lifts this to short left field. That's down for a base hit. Matthews aggressive around first as the throw comes in. And that is the second Gator hit. So you mentioned the Jordan Matthews moment. What was the other iconic moment for you?
The other one had to be back in 2009, Women's College World Series. Florida was playing against Alabama. They were down and looked like it was going to go to the if necessary game to who was going to get to the championship series. And Allie Gardner comes up and hits a grand slam for us to win the game and walk off and send us to the program's first ever championship series.
And this program has a lot of moments to pick from. Meanwhile, here's Amanda Lorenz looking to make some more moments in her senior campaign. Bounce just foul. And there's video of after that Matthews home run, Lorenz was on third base, and you could just see the joy as she ran home from third base, just the shock of everybody in the ballpark in that moment.
I think everybody in the stadium wanted to rush the field and just dogpile on top of Jordan. Just such an incredible feeling and an incredible moment.
Just to think a freshman, 2-2 count, nation watching on ESPN. Ozaki, the pitcher, gets set to deal the 1-1.
See, Lorenz wanted all of that one.
Seen some heavy swings tonight from Amanda Lorenz.
And she's not one to usually swing out of the zone on a pitch like that, but sometimes she likes to get a little big. So right now it's considered off season. They're not playing, so they want to continue to get more reps. And if you talk to anyone who's gone over to Japan and played in that league and seen them play, their work ethic is uncomparable. They have normal 7-hour practices, 9-hour practices, ending with a 2-hour stretch. That they take care of the details.
And you had mentioned in the pregame, too, when you saw the Gators taking ground balls, they had a little bit of a hop before they collected the ground ball, and that's something that was adopted by Japan, from America by Japan, right?
Oh, definitely. You know, they've always been very defensively sound, and being able to kind of keep your feet moving and incorporate that hop is something that a lot of Americans are bringing over.
This one's rolled over. Lugo bobbles the transfer. And there's a base runner for Team Japan. Zatsumi reaches.
That's just one of those plays as there's not too much you can do about it when you have speed from the left side like Atsumi does. The moment Lugo bobbles it, you know she's going to be safe.
Now back to the top of the Japan order. Kiko Iguchi came in to score in the 5th inning. Roll towards the right side, no play, and there's the speed that you mentioned, Francesca. Easy for Iguchi to get on with an infield hit.
I mean, that's just smart from Team Japan. They noticed where the defense was playing, that the first baseman was going to stay back. Lugo covers everything that's going to get hit there, so they expose the slowness of the pitcher, and she places it perfectly. No chance for any type of a play, either at second or at first.
Some defensive changes for the Gators as well. We saw Jordan Matthews step to the plate, so she's now playing at first for Amanda Lorenz. We have Hoover now in center field. Also a pinch runner for Team Japan. Hitomi Kawabata at first base. Haven Sampson out and left. Yuka Ichiguchi, the batter, here with 2 on. Lily Mann is now in right field for the Gators as well. So some defensive changes for head coach Tim Walton. Kelly Barnhill got the start in this game. Went 3 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, which was earned. No walks to 1 strikeout through 33 pitches. This is an exciting time for Team Japan. Like we mentioned, they will host the Olympics this year in 2020. Won the gold medal the last time that softball was in the Olympics in 2008 in Beijing. Tapped out in front of home plate. Lindaman, the quick toss, gets the out. And the speedy Ichiguchi, 1 gone, 2nd and 3rd. And that was a shock to many that year in 2008 that Japan had won the gold medal because the United States had such a dominant stretch in the Olympics.
You talk to a lot of those players that were on that 08 Olympic team, and they are still bitter. They feel like they were just right there. They had it to win, but they couldn't get past the pitcher Ueno, who has been known to be one of the most dominant pitchers in the country. It's kind of ever since 2008, Team USA has just been waiting for that moment to get back.
Line drive center field for Hoover. Almost went over the glove, but that will bring in a run. Satsumi scores on the sac fly from Saki Yamazaki. Team Japan now has a 5-0 lead.
Here you see Michelle Moultrie there. Plays for Team USA, obviously a Gator as well. Enjoying some popcorn though this time. Doesn't have to be on the field.
Had a big hit in the 8th inning of the World Championships this past summer against Team Japan. Team USA went on to win in the 10th inning thanks to Gator Kelsey Stewart. Intentional walk here. Yamato Fujita at the plate.
Yeah, kind of going back to Michelle Moultrie, she's probably one of my favorite stories to tell when it comes to former Gator players. She was a walk-on. They needed some speed into the lineup. She came out in practice, and Coach Wallen said, hey, we can use you as a base runner. And then lo and behold, center fielder Kim Walzunia gets hurt, and she was the only one that could come in and play. And that is really when she got her first start and her first opportunity as a walk-on. And now she was the SEC Player of the Year her senior year. She is the leadoff batter for Team USA. I mean, incredible. You can't say any more great things about Michelle Moultrie and who she is as a character.
And so many Gators have made an impact on Team USA throughout the years, and Moultrie being one of them. 2020 will be interesting to see what that roster does look like and how many Gators maybe on this team can make it, and most notably Kelly Barnhill, Amanda Lorenz, who have both been a part of Team USA.
Even here today in the stands, we had Kirsty Merritt, who's on Team USA, Aubrey Monroe. There they are.
Well done by our crew, by the way. Right on demand.
I know. Good spot. I have a feeling they're getting a text.
One hop towards Adams, off the backhand, trying to right center, and this will bring in a run as the throw is not in time. Team Japan out to a 6-0 lead. As Naito hit that sharp grounder off the glove of Adams into right center. Japan has plated another here in the 7th. See how they score that one. Was hit fairly hard.
Now batting, number 19, Natsuko Sugama.
You see Japan not really doing too much, especially like in this inning especially. They've just been tapping the ball into play, haven't been taking any big swings, just getting to contact and creating hard balls.
High pop fly down the left field side. Lorenz crashing into the camera well. So rather Reynoso crashing into the camera well. Saw her make a tremendous play earlier in this game. Nice over-the-shoulder catch. Just took out Natalie down the left field side.
You know, one thing to keep in mind is that Florida hasn't had very many opportunities to practice in the new stadium. So these girls are getting used to how much depth they have and how much room they have when they're going towards the fences on fly balls. I think they just had their first practice on the field maybe 2 weeks ago.
Sugama fouls it away. See who gets to start tomorrow for Florida 2 against North Florida. See if it is Barnhill before the Gators head off on that tournament to Arizona this weekend. Good at bat from Natsuko Sugama.
Now she's really just been spoiling every pitch Lugo's thrown. You know, Lugo hasn't quite yet thrown a changeup to her. That's really missed downward. She's thrown one that's missed up, but that's a good pitch that Lugo could always go to.
Only one strikeout tonight for Gator pitching. This one in the dirt. There's Katie Chronister and Kelly Barnhill. Two pitchers on Coach Walton's staff, along with pitching coach Mike Bosch. Reynoso over. This time no collision with the camera well for Reynoso.
You know, another addition that Florida's had that we haven't been able to talk about from the pitching side is their volunteer coach, Jolene Henderson.
Yeah.
You know, she's actually pitched over in Japan. She played for Team USA, All-American at Cal Berkeley. So she's helped a lot with this young pitching staff as well.
Lays towards left, Sampson back, can't make the play, and will roll all the way to the wall as 1 run scores. Now 2 runs come in, and a 2-run double for Sugama. Japan pouring it on, 8-0 lead here in the 7th.
And you just have to credit Sugama, and that's an incredible at-bat. She must have had 6-7 foul balls and spoiling every pitch Lugo threw, but able to get on top of that last one.
Now batting for Japan, number 8, Nodoka Harada.
Approaching now 30 pitches for Natalie Lugo. So a pair of freshmen tonight for the Gators. Danny Farley and Elizabeth Hightower out of the bullpen. I think we saw some good things from the freshmen tonight. You can take moving forward. Gators bats have been stifled, only 2 hits tonight. 11 now for Team Japan. As Harada goes down on strike, second K for Gator pitching as Natalie Lugo. This Gator crowd trying to cheer on this offense. Held scoreless tonight. Only 2 hits, trying to get it going against Mizaki Katsumata, new pitcher in for Team Japan. Here is Kendyl Lindaman. Lindaman 0 for 1. Did get on base in the 4th with a walk. Kendyl Lindaman comes into the season with 7th most home runs amongst active players in the NCAA. This is only her 3rd year in collegiate softball. 2-time Big Ten Player of the Year, was the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. Lashes this one foul, giving that netting a good workout.
Yeah, she definitely supplies and packs a lot of power into that swing. You know, and obviously she's going to get tested with being in the SEC now and facing that SEC type of caliber pitching. But being able to hit behind Lorenz, that just knows, you know, that she's going to see pitches and she's going to get something good to hit out.
One thing I noticed too is Coach Walton didn't even budge on that third base side as that was ripped over there.
He's a veteran in that box.
Fly ball towards right center. Yamazaki is there. Gators down to their final 2 outs. Here is Danielle Romanello 0 for 2. Meanwhile, you can watch that game against North Florida tomorrow here at KDC Show Presley Stadium here on SEC Network Plus. Francesca Ine and myself will have the call of that one. And the one thing you notice with Team Japan pitching, the velocity out of the hand from everybody they send inside the circle, it's certainly different.
Yeah, certainly. They throw the ball extremely firm, but it's the control that always helps them be successful and how they're able to locate their pitches. And Japan pitchers are always known to have incredible changeups as well. So when you talk about firmness and then being able to mix speeds and keep those batters off balance, I mean, that's key.
That hit Romanello. We mentioned the velocity. That cannot feel good. I'll say it did hit the bat, but Romanello kind of came out of the box grimacing.
Well, it almost looked like it hit her forearm and then her barrel. Yeah, so it got like a little bit of both. And you're right, that does not feel good, getting on that fleshy part of your wrist.
Meanwhile, the pitching tonight for Team Japan has been stellar. Yamato Fujita went 4 innings, did not allow a hit, 1 walk and 5 strikeouts. Nozomi Ozaki, 2 innings, 2 hits, no runs. Now enter in Misaki Katsumata as the 3rd Team Japan pitcher tonight. Another foul ball. Well, tonight, again, the culmination of a long process, the demolition beginning in mid-June, construction in early August, and here we are. All the details that went into getting this park ready for mid-February, and it's certainly been a stellar debut, a great show out from Gator Nation. It turned out to be a beautiful night. Well, some rain in the forecast. Romanello goes down on strikes. Gators are down to their final out. Last chance, Jamie Hoover to the plate.
Now batting, number 9, Jamie Hoover.
Grounded back to the pitcher Katsumata, shovels to first, and that is the ball game. Team Japan wins it 8-0, but that is sidebar to the presentation of renovated Katie Seashore Presley Stadium. Certainly was a fun night, Francesca.
Totally fun. And really, I mean, almost an emotional night for some of these Gator boosters that have been showing up to the stadium since it was built, and to see the big reveal, it really just shows how much this community loves this softball program and how they see it continue to grow, and it's because of them that it's grown.
So certainly a good showing tonight from Gator faithful, and the Gators fall 8-0 to Team Japan. We'll be back in action tomorrow against North Florida with the start of 6 p.m. on SEC Network Plus. Japan offense early and often, great pitching tonight. Gators